So welcome to the first group discussion of the 29th ITTC. It's dealing with full-scale prediction at highly varying drafts. There has been a dispute at the introduction of EDI and IMO and MPC whether the factors like form factor, CA, etc. should be the same for different drafts. And this was requested by classification societies and ship operators. And the whole discussion led to a doubt of the credibility of the model bases. And MPC has decided that the factors should be the same unless the model basin can prove that this is not the case. That's how it's formulated, similar to that. Therefore, the topic is of high importance to ITTC, and a physically based solution should be developed within a short time frame. And for that reason, ITTC AC constituted an AC working group dealing with this topic. The chair of this working group is Sophia Werner from SSPA. And Sophia, can I ask you now, the floor is open for your presentation and then discussion.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. And welcome to this group discussion. I am Sophia Werner from SSPA. And I will first give a short introduction. And after that, we will hopefully have some group discussion. And this work has been prepared by the ITTC working group on parameters for full-scale power prediction. And the main reason why this group was established is this little term in the EDI formula, the reference speed. And the reference speed is calculated at scantling draft or another deep draft, just as a contract point is derived at design draft. But the problem is that sea trials are carried out at ballast draft for most ship types. So the verification of the EDI or contract point is done with a sea trial at ballast draft. And the conversion to the deeper draft speed is done using model test curves at ballast and a deep draft. Design draft if it's a contract, or scantling draft if it's EDI. At ballast draft, we have very well validated model test predictions since many years of correlation, giving correlation factors such as CA, CP, or CN. But at the deeper drafts, correlation factors are less validated simply because there are a lack of sea trials at the deeper drafts. But the problem is that the reference speed or contract speed, it really depends on the design draft curve or the deeper draft curve from model tests. So you see here, if we have another model test prediction, we will get a quite different reference speed, even though the actual sea trial is exactly the same. But with two different model tests, a deeper draft curve, we get two different results. When we have compared model test results from various towing tanks facilities, we know that at model scale, the results are often very similar. That has been proven in earlier ITTC work. Based on experience, we also know that when we compare full-scale results at ballast draft between different facilities, they are also very similar often. But at the deeper draft, design draft or scantling draft, sometimes there are large differences between the predictions from different facilities. As we heard in an earlier slide, at ballast draft, the correlation factors are based on many sea trials. but at the deeper drafts, there are not so many sea trials available. And that is probably the reason why we have this scatter at the deeper drafts. So to summarize the problem, sometimes we see a large difference in multi-test predictions between different towing tanks at full load. And this affects the derived speed from a sea trial. And there are consequences on the EDI value that can have very negative impact to the whole industry. So now I will discuss alternative solutions to this. Should we simply require that all towing tanks use exactly the same procedure and coefficients? And the working group believe that this is not feasible, since most ITTC members need for various reasons to keep their tank-specific methods that fit to their specific tank and database. Should we require that each tank has correlation data from sea trials at full load? That is not feasible, as we know that there are very few such sea trials available. Should we require that each tank then use correlation data from operational data instead at different drafts? And that we know is very scattered, so that's not a very good solution either. Then could ITTC stipulate a fixed difference between correlation factors at the different drafts? For example, some kind of delta CP. That was proven by the last period's special committee of performance of ships in service. That is not, it's impossible to derive due to the fact that all facilities use their own settings. Then this delta CP is not applicable. So for more details, refer to the committee report from 2017. So the only solution left that the working group can see and suggest is as follows. We know that at ballast draft, the correlation factors are trustworthy, but it's the relation that ITTC needs to assist with deriving a good relation between the two curves. So the working group suggests that ITTC should provide some kind of template, and each facility should demonstrate that their correlation factors and method result in a reasonable relation between the two curves. So it's not the absolute values, but the relation. And this template could either be like a template ship with the data for a template ship, or it could be a template method. And the working group have not decided which one of these to use. And that will we will work on the coming year. But in any case, we need to derive this template. And the suggested method for deriving the template is to first priority to use sea trials at various drafts, if possible. There are a few cases available, and we need to, we have already found ship owners who are willing to share data. And that's the first priority, to get sea trials at various drafts. Second priority is to use operational data, even though we know it's the accuracy is very low, but we will have to try this path and see if we can get any trends out of it. Then we start from an existing extrapolation method, for example, the standard 78 method, and check it, or if necessary, tune the standard correlation factors so that the relation between design and ballast is as what we can see from the full-scale data that we have. So this is the basic strategy that the working group have, and we have started to work according to this, and we have 1 year to go. And in this way, we hope to derive these templates. But we will, as I said, continue to work for another year, and we really need input from the ITC community. So I hope that this group discussion can give us some guidance or suggestions. So in a short while, we will start with some polling questions that everyone can answer, give some quick answer. And after that, I hope that you can use the chat function to provide questions or suggestions. For example, whether you share our description of the problem, or if you don't share it, how this demonstration could be carried out, or if you have other suggestions or questions to us. So now I will stop sharing my screen. And now I think we can see the polling questions. So I will give about 1 minute for you to read and answer.
I got a comment here that please stay muted during the presentation, and it would be much appreciated if you not control the polling you may see in the conference platform. As a technical support, I will invite the polling when the time comes. Okay, thank you, Sophia, for your presentation and the summary of the present status of the work of the ITC Working Group. I understand that getting data from operating ships is a problem, but the importance of this problem is increasing for future ships, especially also related to slow steaming, because then the frictional part is much higher, and it's mainly dealing with the frictional part, what the extrapolation is concerned here. So there was one question, and this goes in line with what question which came here from Xiong Go. What accuracy or uncertainty do you expect in the filtering of the onboard monitoring data?
Yeah, so obviously the accuracy is much less than for a sea trial, and it depends a lot on the quality of the measurements and analysis equipment that they have on board, and what kind of operation and trade that the ships are on. We have seen preliminary data from ship owners that share data with us that it is possible to detect large trends over draft. Let's see if we have trend deviations of 10-15% over the drafts. It will be possible to detect such errors and correct for it, but it's very dependent from case to case. And we will just have to do the best we can with the data.
Speaking of the speed, don't you think that especially if there's some current, it will be difficult to get that current documented in the...
Yeah, the thing with monitoring data is that you're monitoring over such a long period that the current is evened out over 1 year or 2 years of operation.
I think so. If they always you can go on the Gulf Stream,
yeah,
have a current against the or it depends.
But can we now see the result of the polling? Yeah, let's see. Okay, so I think if I can see it here. Okay, so the first question: do you agree that this is a problem? And okay, so 64% of the audience agree to some extent. 27% yes. No, there is no one that don't agree at all. Okay, so that's an interesting finding. And the next question, how do you wish ITC to solve the problem? Oh, so a majority, 93%, each tank should follow their own best practice, but there should be a way to verify that the prediction powered. Yeah, so, and that is the strategy that the working group suggests. So I can see from this that there is a great support from the audience that the group follow this strategy. Okay, are there any other comments?
Yeah, there was one, but it has already been answered in your presentation, and that was, are you also going to use data from ships who had sea trials at multiple drafts?
Yes, that's the first priority.
That's what you have answered, yes.
Yes, yes.
From I get a question, maybe EXXI.
Yeah.
So they're going to make sea trials. It's not ready yet, but in MEPC is discussing the sea trials full load ships. Do you think that would make sense to use data of that such kind of tests if they are available?
Yes, of course. That's that would be very probably useful, and of course we have to judge the quality case by case.
Yeah.
But for sure, it's could be very useful. Maybe also now we can take the chance to ask the audience if there is anyone who have contact with the ship owner or know of a case where sea trials have been performed at several drafts, that if they could please contact us or give us a hint that if it could be useful for the study.
That was going to be my next suggestion. Okay, so we just ask anybody who can support this committee with data, please do. Don't hesitate, even if you think it's maybe not too valuable, but we check that. I think so, because I'm just observer in this committee as well. And so no more questions. Do you have any item you want to stress? Sophia?
No, I'm happy to see the polling question here, that there's support to our strategy, and yeah, we will just have to continue working.
Yes, it was to be expected that the model tanks say we have our own procedure and follow this, and we have to find a procedure how to verify that we may have different factors.
Here's another question.
Oh, another question. Okay. Oh, my son. There's a project called URS. The operational data is collected from two types of ships. Are we using that? URS?
Yeah, no, we have not thought about that, but absolutely, if the data is good, it could be absolutely be useful. Thank you.
And so there's one reason for the basis to say that they want to keep their procedures, and that is, it's not only the form factor or only the CA or CT or whatever. It's also the tank itself influencing the results a little bit. And that's why we stick to that we want to have our own procedure for tanks. And also for our customers, it's much more useful. You have customers for 20 years or for 30 years. They know the results. Maybe they have their own factors for this way of extrapolating to full load. We have customers who do that. They just ask for fix CA, but they have their own factors afterwards. So that can also happen. I know many model bases wouldn't accept that, but if the customer likes to do that and we find out it's very useful, very, very near always. So why not? But still, in principle, even the ship shape is different at different draft. So the K form factor should be different. So it can't be constant more or less. Or maybe near to constant, but normally ship shape is different if it is highly different draft.
And you said in the beginning that in the introduction that this question originated from IMO, MEPC. And are they aware of our activities and the progress in the working group, or are they expecting anything from us?
They're not expecting anything from us, but we have to be careful to deliver without being expected, because especially the classification societies claim they can calculate everything. They don't need model bases. They advertise in this way. And this is critical because people believe in this, although it's not true. We just discussed now maneuvering in waves. And if the propeller gets out of the water, you only can test. You can't calculate anymore. That was the result of the discussion. So, okay. So I think we should try to get the people in their mind of the people that EFD and CFD should work together, so at each other, to improve the results. And because also you can use CFD for different drafts to see what happens. I don't know whether it is included in the working group, but that would also be a way to look at what difference there should be in the form factor, for instance. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. So we just have to finish this discussion because we can't go on talking privately. Okay. Thank you very much for the presentation. Yeah. Thank you for taking part in the polling and also the people who contributed to the discussion. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Just a few words from myself, Pierre Ferrand, co-chair of the conference. This is just to close the end of the second day of the web conference. So I would like to thank everyone for their participation, presenters, committee members, discussers, moderators. So thanks a lot and see you tomorrow. So I think the rest of the day is dedicated to a private EC meeting.
Yes.
So for the full conference, it's over for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.